Hi, today we will understand absolute value equations and how typical they are and what is the importance of absolute value equations, which is also called as modulus in GMAT, and the questions which generally come in the frame of 700 plus questions, and it is made more tough when we add absolute value equations with with inequalities. So first let us see what is absolute value equation. So anything inside two lines, anything, it can be like in our case we have put x. So whatever we put inside these two lines, we will get the result as positive. This is absolute value function, or you can say as the modulus of the function. Whatever we are putting inside these two parallel lines, the result will be positive. But whatever we are putting inside, we don't know whether we are putting positive things or negative things. So in total, this function is called as modulus or absolute value function. But when we are talking about the value of x, then we have two values, whether it can be a positive value of x or it can be a negative value of x. So if I define absolute value equations, then modulus of x can be equal to minus of x or the value of x for two sets. The first is x less than 0 and second is x greater than equal to 0. So in a number line, if I draw a value 0, then any value which is equal to 0 and greater than this, so any value of x which is equal to 0 or greater than 0 will have positive or will be a positive x, and any value less than 0, which is the statement 1, will be minus x. But what is this actually? Like, why we are defining this? It sounds a bit complicated, and in one side we tell everything comes out as positive, then why we are writing this as minus x or this as plus x? The confusion erupts then when we are talking in total about the modulus of x or anything inside this modulus, the result is positive. But when we are talking individually about x, then it is either positive or negative. This is what it means, and we will get the concept or have more clarity further on. Let us, just for the sake, let us understand what the definition says. The absolute value of x, denoted by this symbol, is defined to be x if x is greater than equal to 0 and minus x if x is less than 0. Okay. Now, variable inside absolute value function can take positive or negative value. We have to be a bit cautious in attempting such questions in which we have modulus. Another definition of modulus says that this is a distance of a point from origin, what we call as 0, if we have mod of x. For certain other cases, like when we have x minus 4, then we are checking the distance of this value x from this point 4. Okay, we will learn about it eventually, but for the sake of definition, modulus basically says that this is the distance from a certain point. If it is modulus of x, then this is the distance of x from 0. Since distance is always positive, modulus is always positive. So if I write this equation, I can also write this as modulus of x minus 0 equal to 0, which implies that the distance of point x from origin is basically equal to x. Actually, this should be x, like this is not 0, this is x. So the distance of point x from origin is x. Now that distance I can reach from both sides. That distance x can be from the right, the distance x can be from the left, so that the overall distance remains positive. I hope you are getting the point that modulus tells me the distance of a point from a certain point. In one case it can be 0, and in another case it can have a different reference, like this example. In this example, mod of x minus 4 is equal to 2. Now, it implies that if I draw a number line with 4, so any point x having a distance from 4 will be 2. So that point x, which is at 2 units apart from 4, can be defined by this equation. Now that point x can be on both sides of 4, it can be on the right hand side of the 4 as well as on the left hand side of the 4. But the distance will be same, that is, it will be 2. Similarly, if I write this equation, that is x plus 5 is equal to let us say 3, then I can say that even I can write x plus 5 again as x minus of minus 5. So this is nothing but the distance of point x from minus 5. So in our number line, if I represent minus 5 with this point, so I am talking about point x which is at a distance of 3 from minus 5, which is this statement, that is modulus of x plus 5 is equal to 3. Now the point comes how to open this modulus and get the final values, like to identify this value out here or to identify this value out here. So let us solve the equations independently. Let us see the first equation, that was mod of x minus 4 equal to 2. As per definition, we know that anything inside the modulus can take two values. It can take a positive value, it can take a negative value. So let us first talk about the positive value. So positive value will be written as such as it is given in the modulus, and I will write it as x minus 4 equal to 2. And when we are talking about the negative value, then I will assign this as a negative value. So, like in case of assigning or writing it as x, I have written it as minus x. Now solving for x, we will get the value as 4 will come this side, it will become positive, so it will be 6. In this, it will become minus of x plus 4 equal to 2. So x will become equal to 2. Now we can take this x this side, bring this 2 from right hand side to left hand side. So we have two values, that is x equal to 6 and x equal to 2. Now let us put these values into this equation and check whether they are satisfying this or not. And this is a very important step where one cannot miss this. Whenever you get some values, you have to put and check it back. So if I put 6, then 6 minus 4 will be 2, and mod of 2 is actually equal to 2. If I put the second value which I got was 2, then 2 minus 4 modulus is equal to modulus of minus 2, and that is equal to 2. So I can see that both values, that is 6 and minus 2, are satisfying the equation. Let us see whether in the number line also can we get the same answer. So let me draw another number line. We had this value as 4. This is plus 2, this is not minus 2. So our first answer was 6 and our second answer was 2. Now the distance of this point x from 4 in both cases are 2. So we are actually representing this whole set of conditions as point x minus 4 equal to 2. So basically what we are telling that point x, that is any point x, the distance of this point x from point 4 is basically 2. So we are having two values satisfying this equation. One is 6 and another is 2. Similarly, let us solve for the next example. What we had, that was x plus 5. Let us assume that this is equal to 3. Again, I can take the value for the first time as positive. So I will write it as x plus 5 equal to 3 and I will get x equal to minus 2. Great. For the second time, when I am opening the modulus, I will assume that the value inside the modulus is negative. So I have taken this as minus of x plus 5. Again I will open the bracket and this will be this. Now x will be equal to, if I take this x from the left hand side, put it on the right hand side and bring this 3 from the right hand side to the left hand side, I will get x is equal to minus 8. Now we have two values, but we have to check whether these two answers are satisfying the equation or not. So let me put minus 2 out here. So minus 2 plus 5 of mod will be equal to mod of 3, which is equal to 3. Perfect. So this answer is satisfying. Let me check by putting minus 8. So if I put minus 8, it becomes minus 8 plus 5. And this is nothing but equal to mod of minus 3, which is again equal to 3. So when I am representing this on a number line, we are basically checking the distance of point x from minus 5 and the distance should be equal to 3. Because our equation was x plus 5 equal to 3. Now, in one go, we got the answer. When we were talking about the positive value, we got minus 2. And when we are talking about the negative value, we got this answer. So, minus 8 is at 3 distance or 3 units of distance from minus 5. And minus 2 is at 3 distance from minus 5. So this is how this is the manner in which we should understand the modulus function, that is the absolute value function, what is the distance we are talking. So if I revise what we studied, the first thing we studied that whenever I am writing this function, the after result is always positive. It means that modulus of 2 will always be 2 and modulus of minus 2 will always be 2. So the point is, if I'm writing modulus function and writing anything inside that modulus function, the result will always be positive. So you cannot get a negative result out of modulus function. Now it can be like if I am asking a question that a multiplied by mod a is negative. So what is the sign of a? Now the sign of a can be a positive sign or it can be a negative sign. If I have given you this statement that the a multiplied by mod of a is negative, so I know that mod of anything cannot be negative. So I know that this value will be always positive. So a has to be negative, then only negative multiplied with positive will be negative. So this is what I meant from this.